In the last video, I showed you how to make the body and how to attach the legs as we made it. In this video, I'll show you how to make the tongue and how to make the mouth. We're going to make the tongue using foundation double crochet stitches. If you don't like foundation double crochet stitches, you can just crochet a chain and then crochet double crochet stitches back. That's totally up to you, but I'll show you how to make the foundation double crochet stitches now. They're the same as what we used for the legs. I'll be using 4 Seasons Flinders 100% cotton yarn in ruby colour and a 4mm crochet hook. We start the foundation double crochet stitch with a slip knot, the same as we did for the legs, and 3 chain. So 1, 2, 3. Then yarn over to make your double crochet stitch. We'll put the hook through the first loop that was the slip knot. I like to have 2 pieces of yarn above and 1 piece below. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop. This will make your chain. This is a making your chain as you go stitch. Yarn over and pull through 1 loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops, the same as you would for a double crochet stitch. And again yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there's your first double crochet stitch. Yarn over and go through both the front and back parts of the base of that first double crochet stitch we made. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop. Yarn over and pull through 1 loop. Then the same as a double crochet, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there's your second double crochet stitch, and we're going to make a strip of 45 stitches. So again, yarn over and go through both the front and back parts of the base of the previous stitch. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop. Yarn over and pull through 1 loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there's your third double crochet stitch. You can see at the top there's 1, 2, 3, and at the bottom you've got 1, 2, 3 going in the opposite direction. So again, yarn over and go through both the front and back parts of the base of the last stitch. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop. Yarn over and pull through 1 loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So one more time, yarn over and go through both the front and back parts of the base of the last stitch. Yarn over and pull through a loose loop. This loose loop is what would be your chain if you weren't making your chain as you go. Now I keep saying a loose loop, and the reason why is if you have a tight chain and double crochet back, your strip will bend. The same is true for this. If you do everything tight here in that first loop, you'll get a bent tongue. So make sure that first loop is loose, then yarn over and pull through 1 loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So keep crocheting and I'll meet you when you get to the end of 45 stitches. I have 45 stitches here in the tongue now, and I've snipped off the yarn tail. Then pull the yarn through the loop on your hook and pull the loop closed. One end is going to be crocheted into the mouth and the other end will be the tip of the tongue. The end where we've just finished is nice and flat, and we'll use it to crochet into the mouth. So we don't need to do anything with this yarn tail right now. This is the end where we started with the 3 chain, so that gives a nice rounded shape. So I'm going to use this yarn tail to sew into the stitches here, so that this will be a nice neat end for the tongue when we've finished the frog. So just sew your yarn tails in there and tie it off and hide any ends, and then we'll make the mouth. This is what it looks like after sewing in the yarn tail. Next we're going to make the mouth part. I'll be using 4 Seasons Flinders yarn. It's an 8-ply 100% cotton, and this colour is called Jet. And I'll be using a 4mm crochet hook. The tongue is crocheted into the mouth, and the mouth is just a flat magic ring turned into a circle. We'll sew across the centre and then crochet it into the body. The edges that we've sewn together will tuck in behind here, and that will create this lovely little mouth with a bulge. We'll start making the mouth part now. Start with an anchor loop in the end of your yarn and make a loop around your fingers. Put your hook through the center and pull through a loop. Hold that and get ready to crochet with the other hand. Then do a chain to anchor it. Make sure your loop's not too big, and we're going to start with 8 single crochet stitches amigurumi style. So put your hook through the center, yarn under, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. And again through the center, yarn under, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. I've already shown you how to make magic rings, so I won't waste your time explaining it all again. We just need 8 single crochet stitches in our magic ring. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We're going to pull that magic ring closed, but not completely closed, just enough so you can reach the other side. Round 2 is much harder to crochet into if you've closed the magic ring very tightly. You'll need a round marker, and an alternate colour is a good idea because it's very hard to see black on black. So we're going to crochet into that first space, and we're going to do an increase and a single crochet repeated 4 times. So if you're having trouble finding your stitches, you can count backwards. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you need to go into this space here. It is very hard to see, isn't it, when you're looking with black, especially as your eyes get older. So all you young guys, you'll be able to do it very easily, but for we older folk, it's a little bit harder. So put your hook behind both the front and back parts of that stitch, yarn under and pull through a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. And we're doing an increase, so that means do another stitch in the same space, and then a single crochet in the next space. So the pattern is an increase and a single crochet all the way around, but we're going to crochet our tongue into stitches 7, 8 and 9. So this is 3, here's 4, 5 and 6. So we're halfway around now, and now we're going to crochet the tongue into the next space. This end is where I began with the chains, and this is where I ended. So this is the top side for me. I want the top side of this strip to be facing the center of the magic ring. That means I need to turn it over and crochet it in this way. So I'm going to go behind both parts of that stitch there, behind both the front and back parts of that, and then into the next space in round 2, and this is an increase. So I'll do 1 stitch there, then go through the center of this last post in the foundation double crochet line, then back into the same space because this is an increase, then into the next space across, and into the next stitch, and I'm going to hide my yarn tail behind there, and we'll tie that off later. This doesn't look super neat, but we're going to fold the mouth in half and we're going to sew through there, so it will be fine later. So now just finish the last set in your round, an increase and a single crochet, and then we're going to close that magic ring nice and tight. So make a big loop, pull your magic ring closed. Remember to close it in the same direction the yarn is coming around inside there. And to make sure the second loop is closed, I just pull it tight with my hook helping me. There it is. The center's nice and closed. At the end of round 2, you should have 12 stitches, and your tongue should be crocheted into stitches 7, 8 and 9. Move your round marker up for round 3. And in round 3 we're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase, repeated 4 times. You'll have 16 stitches at the end of the round. This time remember to trap your yarn tail into the stitches. So I'm up to stitch 2 and I'm going to start trapping that yarn tail in there. So between the stitches. So I've done a single crochet in each space for the first 2 stitches, and now I'm going to do an increase. So as you're trapping that yarn tail, give it a tug every now and then because it can come loose inside the stitches there, which will defeat the purpose of keeping this magic ring center closed, won't it? Keep following the pattern of 2 single crochets and an increase, and trap the yarn tail as you go. I'll speed through this part until we reach the knot just before the anchor loop. And I'm sure you'll meet your knot at a different point to me, but when you do meet the knot in the anchor loop, make sure you don't crochet over top of that knot or you'll create a bump. So when you get to the knot, tuck that behind and don't crochet over it for the next few stitches. I have an increase in this space. And at the end of round 3 you should have 16 stitches. Move your round marker up for round 4, and in this round we're going to do an increase and a single crochet all the way around. So I'll start with an increase, and I'm going to trap that yarn tail anchor loop now. So go through the center of the anchor loop there. So there's my increase, and I'm trapping the anchor loop as I go. So in the next space it's a single crochet. Remember to crochet inside your anchor loop if you have enough space. If you've made a loop smaller than mine, you won't need to crochet too many stitches in. And if you have a larger loop, of course you'll need to crochet a few more. I'm just going to do 3 into my magic ring anchor loop there because I don't want to distort my work by stretching it. It's very hard to see black on black, but there is my anchor loop and it has enough stitches in there to hold it firmly. So I've done an increase and a single crochet. Now I need to do an increase and a single crochet and repeat that 8 times all the way around. You should have 24 stitches at the end of the round. At the end of round 4, your little mouth should look something like this. The tongue's already crocheted in place, and we're going to sew it as we fold across the center so it will reinforce the tongue, and it will be very strong because it will be held in twice. The pattern for round 5 is 2 single crochets and an increase, repeated 8 times. You'll have 32 stitches at the end of the round. At the end of round 5, your mouth should look something like this, and you should have 32 stitches around. And in this round we're going to stagger the increases so that we don't make any angles around the mouth. We want it to be a nice round circle. The pattern for round 6 is a single crochet, then a set of an increase and 3 single crochets repeated 7 times, then an increase and 2 single crochets at the end. You should have 40 stitches at the end of the round. Remember to move your round marker up for round 7, and the pattern for this round is 4 single crochets and an increase repeated 8 times. You'll have 48 stitches at the end of the round. At the end of round 7, your mouth should look much like this. It's flat, but it does have extra stitches in it, and that's to help make the mouth bulge later. For round 8, we're going to do a single crochet in each space for the first 2 spaces, and then we'll start our set. This is to stagger the increases so that we can keep the mouth very round. So I've done 2 single crochets to help stagger the increases. Then the set is an increase and 5 single crochets. We'll repeat that 7 times. Then we'll do an increase and 3 single crochets. You should have 56 stitches at the end of the round. At the end of round 8 there are a lot of stitches in this circle and it might appear a little wonky, but if you press it you can press it flat on a table. Having those extra stitches in the round helps the mouth to bulge later. Move your round marker up for round 9, and this is our last round. We'll just do a single crochet in each space all the way around, and there'll be 56 stitches at the end of the round. At the end of round 9, your mouth should look like this. It is a little bit wonky. If you try hard, you can make it very wonky. The whole purpose of that is to make the mouth be able to have that lovely bulging shape in the end. When you've finished round 9, take out your round marker and do a slip stitch in the next space. Then we'll cut off a long yarn tail. You'll need that to sew across the mouth later. So I've cut off a yarn tail this long, maybe it's too long, I don't know. Pull the yarn through that last loop and we'll do an invisible end. Step forward 2 spaces from the one that you're using right now and go behind both the front and back parts of that loop. Pull the yarn through and then go back into the space this yarn's coming from. and into the little loop below. And pull it gently so the stitches are the same size as all the other stitches. In the next video I'll show you how to fold the mouth, how to count the stitches for top and bottom, and how to sew across the centre. So it will be ready to crochet into the head in the step after that. Click on the link to go to the next video, or you can go to the playlist to find whichever video you need.